Alrighty, you're recording.
All right, I am. All right, so let's go to the Run Among the Lakes. I think that we're going to have to make this a completely virtual race.
Yeah.
And so I think we can make it pretty fun and exciting. So we can make everybody either a Windermere virtual or a virtual. The Windermere virtual is going to, we'll use the actual existing race course, and we'll give people a 2-week window so they can run it anytime from like October 1st through the 15th. And they can download the RaceJoy app, which we'll give them for free. And the RaceJoy app will tell them, like as they're running, it'll say, you know, turn left at the stop sign. You know, you finished 1 mile. So it'll give them those kinds of cues. And then it will also track their time and distance and post it to the website. The virtual anywhere is the same, you know, same thing, except they can run wherever they want. And what I was thinking we could do, and Robert, I put a call into you to ask you about this, but I didn't hear back from you. But I think what would be kind of cool would be to put banners up. So we could put like the start finish banner up in front of Town Hall, and leave it there for 2 weeks. So that, and you know, put some, like where we normally have a water station at Lake Street, we could put a big banner there, like maybe a picture of a table with water on it and runners running by. So that, you know, as people are running the course, it's a little more interactive, kind of fun. We could, you know, get people to take pictures as they cross the finish line and, you know, post them to the website.
Yeah, I mean, the start finish, I think is a great idea. We can go ahead and put that up there. I would probably just suggest doing the one, not the whatever one, because of the afternoon thunderstorms and the wind.
Well, we would make a banner, you know, like out of that, you know, vinyl. So it probably wouldn't be damaged.
So you want one just with like a picture of a water table, and then you want one with the start finish?
Well, we'll do the banners like we'll create the banners. We'll just, you know, ask for Public Works help in putting them up.
That's fine.
Is that fine? Okay. So we can do that. I think we can do the, you know, we already have the medals because I had to order them from China back in February. And I was able to change and just get 2020 put on them. So we have the medals. I talked to Kim Head, who's been helping with graphics, and we thinking about revising the T-shirt, which I haven't, you know, we haven't produced yet, into making it the 2019 non-COVID Run Among the Lakes. We're thinking of doing like the COVID in a circle with a slash through it. So, you know, we can, I was thinking we could go ahead and do the packet pickups, because we can do that in Town Hall and, you know, I think spread out and be distanced and careful, so people can come pick up the race bags. The sponsors hopefully will all stay in. They can put their information in the race bags with the medal and the T-shirt. And we're going to do a cool custom race bib as well. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I like it.
Sounds
I
good.
think that's probably our best option.
Is that kind of standard for virtual races, all that?
No, actually we'll be doing, I mean, what we're doing is a little bit extra.
Okay.
This is right now.
But I figured, you know, we can, you know, we can do it. And, you know, we already have about $40,000 in. So I want to make it as fun and exciting as we can.
Yeah.
So we don't have to refund a ton of money.
Right.
So we have about 600 runners signed up, and you know, if the committee's in agreement, I'll go ahead and we'll revise the advertising, post it on Facebook and the website, run something in the West Orange Times with the change and see how it goes.
So Nora,
Yeah.
are we breaking new ground here, or has somebody else done this recently?
Well, the virtual races are the only kind of races you can run essentially in Central Florida. There's no, according to Fred Summer, there's no county that will give you an event permit. So, you know, Track Shack, Fred, I mean, all the people, all they're doing is virtual races. And he says they're actually pretty popular because people are so desperate for something to do.
Okay, so this is not, so we're not breaking new ground. This is, other people are doing it.
Yes, other people are doing it. I mean, I think what we can do with the t-shirts, you know, and the packets is a little bit different. But yeah, this is, all the events are virtual now.
So we're just adding, like, picking up the packet, maybe, you said the special bib, some signage.
Right, the special race bib, the signage, the t-shirt, the medal, you know, sponsor stuff will be in the race packs like it usually is.
Okay. So as close as we can to what we normally have, just they have to run it on their own.
Right, and I had an idea that maybe the Waze kids could help us with. So we can customize the Race Joy app. So I was thinking if we could get some enthusiastic kids to help, maybe they could do, like we could do something when you come to the 1 mile marker, there's a lot of cheering, you know, yay, it's a mile.
How would you know when people are going to be there?
The Race Joy app that they download tracks them. So if they run the Windermere virtual race, then that Race Joy app knows what the route is. So it knows where they are and you know how far they've gone.
Yeah.
So you mean the kids would just like pre-record at that moment, like cheering?
Yes. So it would be on the app.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No.
So we're gonna make those kids just stand there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. They're gonna go. They're gonna earn a lot of hours.
Yeah, you know, I thought it might be. I mean, it might be something fun we could do.
Yeah, I think that's a cute idea, and it'd make it more exciting for the people that are running.
So Nora,
Yeah.
here are a lot of people at random times during 2 weeks are going to cross Conroy and Main Street.
Correct.
So we're not going to have police out there constantly for 2 weeks, right?
No.
So,
they'll
so everybody's on their own to be careful with traffic.
Yes. And we can actually put that into the Race Joy app. I mean, we could say, you know, you got to cross a main street here or something.
Yeah, and maybe recommend, hey, don't do this at rush hour.
Right. Right. Look both ways.
Can you lay out a route that they will be crossing at our flashy lights right there by Lake Street? They can cross there and then come back around and cross either First and Main.
It's going to be the regular route. It's going to be the regular race route because that's what's programmed in. Yeah.
So they're going to have to cross. Yeah, they're going to have to cross where there's not a flashing light.
Correct.
Right. I'd rather redo it. You know, give some sense of safety because usually when we race it, we have PD out there.
Yes.
So it's better, but.
Well, Scott, I'm telling you right now, 90% of the people are just going to do it on their own regular runs. You mean, again, as I said before, I'm doing 3 of these things. I've already done 2 last week. You use a race app and then you do it. And then you can download your bib and then they'll send you a t-shirt and your medal after you prove that you finished the race, and that's it. But I just use my typical route that I take that I know is 3.12 miles or 3.11 miles. So most of the people are going to do it at their own way. And again, you can make this as easy or as complicated as you guys want. That's fine. But that's what a lot of them are doing right now, is just saying, okay, we'll use this app, download your time, and then we'll mail you out the medal and the t-shirt. So one second, I got somebody.
Yeah, I was hoping by doing the race packs, we won't have to mail so much stuff out. We can just give it out. And yeah, they can run the virtual anywhere, which is not the Windermere route. I mean,
They could do that and still be considered in the competition?
There isn't going to be a competition. We're not going to give out winners awards this year.
Okay.
So, but they get a medal, a cool t-shirt, and a cool bib. I think that's,
Well, it's impressive that you can do that, and that, and it's impressive that you know how to do it. So thank you for that.
well, I mean, I talked to Fred. Fred's the one who told me how to do this. So left on my own, I would have no idea. But
Okay. By the way, Doug is not on, right?
He's here.
Oh, you're there? Oh, I see you.
It
All
says
right.
you're muted, Doug. But I swear I hear him.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
all right. So are you guys good with that? Do we?
If you're good, Nora, I don't know enough about it, so definitely leaning on you and Fred,
All right.
to
Okay.
do that.
Tracy, do you want to talk to the Ways
Sure.
group and see if
Sure.
they're
Just all you gotta do is, all you have to do is let me know when you want to get them together or how you want to do the clapping situation. And they had their meeting last month, but they didn't have a quorum. So hopefully this coming month they'll have a quorum. They'll be able to discuss it.
So I don't understand that part. People are going to be out there at random times over 2 weeks, and we're going to have a cheering group?
No,
It's recorded on the app. So like
Right.
when they hit mile one, then
Okay.
a bunch of kids or us. I'll do it. I don't have a problem doing it.
right.
Just woohoo! Great job, you did it. 1 mile. Is that
Right.
what you're talking about, Nora?
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And I forgot, today's Leisha's birthday and she has big plans tonight. So I told her we would move Fernwood Park up
Thanks, Nar.
so she can have a celebratory drink. So,
I'm holding off.
so let's do Fernwood now and we can come back to Halloween and the other stuff. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. So my thought on Fernwood was we're not going to be able to do this charrette this year.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong about it. But I don't think. I mean, I think the charrette needs to be done like in person at the town hall where we can have displays and people can talk. I don't see how you can do that in a Zoom meeting myself. And Robert, chime in.
Sorry, my daughter was a little upset because all the neighbor kids came over and rang the doorbell and wanted to play, but it's almost dinner time, so she's not allowed to go out, so she's having a little fit right now.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, our intent. our intent was to, we can do a Zoom charrette. It's just it's hard to do sometimes because again, I'm going to be the administrator and I'll be the presenter. So I'm trying to make sure that there's no Zoom bombers and then everybody's more respectful of everybody's time.
Right.
I'm not shy to not do it. Just to get everybody's thoughts, feelings, and possibly vent out there some of those frustrations with because most of it's relating to Bird Island, and we can inform them. Okay, well, here's what we're doing with Bird Island, and then also there's a lot of ideas about parking, juveniles, so on and so forth. So. We'd be able to educate them on what we can and cannot do legally, and as far as no parking zones, parking passes, we can let them know as far as logistically how much of a burden that's going to be, and then how people can get around that. So I have no problem setting that up. We just had to go ahead and set up a bunch of meetings for West 2nd Avenue at the end of August and September to go over the designs so we can go ahead and move forward with the construction of West 2nd Avenue. And then we're going to do the same thing with Butler and Bessie, and then also 9th and Oakdale to make sure that we're staying in line with the grants. So if you guys want to do it this year, I have no problem doing it. And it's mostly just to listen to people's concerns and some of the options. And then again, you can say, okay, well, listen, the majority of the people are saying that they like A instead of B, or we're somewhere closer than we thought between C and D. A lot of people are going to have different viewpoints on the boardwalk, and there's going to have some people, different questions relative to where if you put a gate, should we divide the property into 2 properties, stuff like that. But at least you can get a thought of what's going to happen. Because if you make a recommendation now, let's say, without having that input from what people are going to agree with and what they're not going to agree on, I can guarantee you town council, it'll be DOA right off the bat. When people show up in hordes or they email and call, they have a tendency to go ahead and push it off either back to the committee or back to myself to have a workshop or a charrette. So we can do a virtual charrette, see how it goes. And if it blows up in our face or my face, because I'll be running it, then we wait until we have a time where we can actually meet in person. But then we can also listen to the people that are living next to the area, and then address that through law enforcement, maybe some temporary stuff that we can do, and also with the county, because we're working with, Commissioner Vanderlei. So the purpose is twofold. One is to get, everybody's ideas and venting out, and then the also is to work on the actual master plan of Fernwood Park. And then we would separate Lake Street, because Lake Street is completely different than Fernwood, and then the same thing with maybe Bessie.
I like the idea of getting it done before the end of the year if possible, and giving people time to come up with ideas and stuff. People are concerned about it. So the sooner they get to voice their concerns and talk about it, the better it'll be for everybody, I think.
I agree. Because again, I'm getting the same questions day after day, and I'm having to repeat it. So I can set it up for probably sometime in mid-September, and then we'd be able to get it out there. Not only to let people know that we're working on the issues, but again, hopefully, if they're coming up with all these ideas and these plans, tell them why it could work and why it couldn't work. Because there's a lot of things out there that you just can't legally do, or it's just going to create more of a nightmare on that balance of how much do you want to punish yourself for something that we didn't create, just like the cut through traffic.
Robert,
Yeah,
can we get
Robert,
prior
do
to?
you get a feel for how many people in the town are concerned? Is it mostly these 2 blocks here, right around the park, or is there a widespread concern about Fernwood?
The ones that reached out to me are the ones that are within a 2-block radius of Fernwood and Lake Street.
How many at Fernwood have reached out to you? More than 3?
I would say probably at least 5.
The
5?
Taylors, the Willards,
Yeah, we all know the names.
right?
You can add me to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert, can we get before that as a committee, can we get what's allowed and what's not allowed? Kind of guidelines?
That's just, I mean,
I can't hear you.
well, I'm just trying to think in my head of, I mean,
Like-
Scott and I can try to come up with something as far as, what we feel is maybe a compromise and maybe what we feel is something that'll be easily enforceable. And then we'll shoot it over to you. But, there's so many different varieties of things that we can mix in, so we can give like an a la carte menu and you choose and pick what you think would be appropriate in that area. But there's also things that we probably haven't thought of that may be a benefit from the charrette.
Yeah, I think there's benefit to come of that, but I also, for years, we've kind of heard, those of us that live next to it, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. It's a public park. And I guess I just need a little more proof on that. Can we really only have it residential parking? Can we really maybe move the gate up and let it just be pedestrian access? Can we, and I know there's a balance of it, but honestly, they're already parking on my street anyway. They blocked us in where we couldn't even get our boat out of the water last weekend because they parked so tight on our driveway. So, there is give and take, but I think we have to explore all the options to see, start discouraging people from coming down our residential streets.
But understand, okay, let's say we have, I mean, like with you, Leisha, you're going to be in favor of making it just residential parking.
Right.
Your neighbor, again, is going to say, no, I'm not in favor of that, for various reasons. If you have people over, you don't want them parking all along the right of way. You want them in that area so it's not clogging up the different right of ways. And then, you put up no parking along the right of way, and then, where are the friends, relatives, stuff like that are going to be unable to park on
Permit
your
parking by permit only. And those that live there get permits. And I know it's not all feasible, but I think it's worth, I don't want to just hear no. I kind of want to like dig through these and be like, well, what if it's permit parking? And then, any resident can have residents that live here can have a permit. They can put them in their cars. They can put them in their guest cars. And it doesn't have to be forever. If we start discouraging them, they'll stop. I mean, the ones that blocked us in our driveway last weekend were from Land O'Lakes.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll stop coming if it gets difficult. They'll be like, oh, crud, there's really nowhere to park. Oh, this is a pain. And after we had a nice chat with them about how we were stuck out because we couldn't get our trailer out, all night, they like, oh, well, we won't come again. It was a pain for them. So it's just making it not welcoming. I mean, I don't want to be, I'm not a Windermere snot. I used to be happy to share, but they don't treat our streets and our property well. And therefore, I don't think we should make it easy on them to come, use our dock as a launching point for a party site.
No, understood. And then, again, that's why we need to cure the cancer before we cure some of the other stuff. But if you implement residential parking only,
You're opening up a big can of worms.
Why?
There's
a lot of non-resident parking, like where I live. A lot of people come and park at Central Park, like the church uses that.
Yeah.
Well, no, what do you mean by residential parking only? Is just down that block or just at the park?
I would love to see, I mean, ideally, I would love to see it at both. But, I know there's always kickback to in everything we do. But that's the stuff I'd like to be able to talk through, not just here, we can't. I'd like to talk through, well, okay, here, give me 5 parking passes. When I have guests over, they can park there. They can park down at the ramp. It's fine. We're not trying to hurt our neighbors. Let's do everything we can for our residents, but let's make it look difficult for those that come from Land O'Lakes to hop on the boat. Right. Or I met a couple down there. He was wondering how he can get on. He lives in O'Coy and here, this is a great place to come. And he was wondering how he gets his boat in the water. I mean, they're just searching for it. And if we discourage it and make it a little harder, nothing's going to solve the problem. Nothing. everything's just a piece of the puzzle. And it doesn't have to be forever. It can just take each piece and make it a little more difficult if it's manageable, and they'll start not coming as often. That's my thought.
Okay.
But I know, and not everyone, I know the neighbors don't, and not everybody thinks the same, I guess, because I would just move the gate forward and, be done with it. But I know everybody has their thoughts.
It's quite a balancing act.
Yeah, it is. And I respect that it is. I kind of want to dig through all the pieces and not just what we've said for 20 years is, well, it's a public park. It is what it is. And, and Lake Street people the same way. It is what it is. Well, they're miserable over there because it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's harder. That one's way harder. I know.
Yeah. I'm interested in looking into moving the gate forward. I don't know. I've not done any research, but when I've gone by on the boat recently, I've seen probably 5 or so cars. I do see people coming and picking up people off the dock, but I don't know what the downside would be about moving the gate up, except for, from what I heard from our last meetings, people said that it would back up the traffic,
No,
like in front of your house.
It won't.
No?
No, it will not. There's not that many boats going at one time.
Okay. Well, I mean, then we should look into that.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, we're happy to listen to each one, but there's going to be consequences to each one of those decisions. And with that one, with moving the gate up, the consequence is everybody's gonna be parking along that right of way and no parking within the inside the gate.
So if you move the gate up, would the gate work like the current one does, where you put your key in and you're stuck, your key is there until you're done? Which would allow somebody to come take the key.
We would have to.
I think you keep both gates.
You would have a separate gate with a different key?
No, you'd have to use the same key. You'd open up this gate, drive through, close it, get your key, go into the boat ramp, open it up, launch your boat, close it, get your key back, get in your car. Whether you allow parking at the site itself, but you have your trailer, so you're gonna have to drive to the next gate, open the gate, get your key, and go. And again, you're gonna have the majority of the people that are gonna be in favor of this is going to be the 2-block radius. The Towns of Windermere, once they have to go through these steps, are going to be at the next council meeting. The same thing that we have with the cut through traffic, are going to be coming out in hordes saying, why are we doing this? All this other stuff, and you got to find that balance for not only the neighbors, but also the general public itself. And it's going to be a very hard thing to do.
And maybe it's just a permit. Can we go back to permit only parking, where you have this, the piece of paper in your car and it's only permit parking down there?
Yeah,
Problem is, how do we enforce that?
Well, no, say again, yeah, but the thing is that, okay, well, it's the same thing as making residential only parking. So then you have residents only. So if your neighbor, friend, or anything like that needs to park anywhere, you're excluding them parking in the park. So then you do it along the street. So you're just adding more parking to the street.
Right. Or, well, yeah, it all has to be residential only parking. I know. I guess my thought is, if we could do something just to tone it down, and hopefully it will die down. It doesn't have to be a forever solution, but maybe it will all just distract. And, with Bird Island helping with every piece of it and helping. I do understand everything has a reaction, and we have to definitely weigh it out. I know, 3 of my neighbors were all for, after we were blocked in last weekend, we're all for no parking signs on our street, or parking by permit only. And we have permits just like, you do everywhere. If you live in a downtown area, you can't, you have to have a permit or something to park in certain spots. So I know it's a pain for a while, but the 3 of them on my side, my side of the road, we're all like, that would be great if they couldn't park here.
It seems to me like a good solution would be a retina reader. So you pull up to the gate, it reads your retina, you go in. So is it out there?
Thumbprint.
Yeah. You'll see a couple of people with eye patches then after that.
I don't know, or we just do nothing and we just keep putting up with it for another 20 years. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
we can't have it both ways. We can't not try something and and then we just have to be okay with what we have. And maybe it's, you know, I know it's a balance. I know I've talked to people like that live up on Second that would be happy to see a little more restrictions. I would think the people on the lake would be happy to see it restricted a little more because it would cut down a little more traffic and a little more noise for them as well, even though if they're not, you know, they're not bothered by it, except for the noise. So I know, Robert, I hear you. I don't know what the answer is. I'm close to giving up and just dealing with it for 20 more years. But that's what we've done this whole time. We've just dealt with it.
Well, why don't
Understood.
we, as part of this charrette, why don't we make a list of the issues we have with Fernwood, you know, the current problems, you know, parking and you know, sort of have, you know, this is a problem. There's, you know, 3 or 4 potential solutions for it.
Yeah.
Just get people's feedback on that and, you know, see if you know, if one of them is something we want to try.
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. I know what the issues are, and then, you know, it would be me, Chief, FWC. Maybe I can get Commissioner Vanderlei on there if she's still in the position.
Yeah, I'm not sure she's going to be.
Maybe Ms. Wilson will be on there, but you know, we'll see what happens. And then just so I have the decision makers on there, not only so because we're on the landward side, we can control what happens on the landward side. And then we have to be conscious of the fact that, again, we are it's not only the jumping off point for people to get out there. So we've now enacted the consent to search, meaning that if anybody comes onto that property, we can search their coolers and backpacks and whatever. So hopefully that'll be somewhat of a little bit of a deterrent.
Yep.
But also we need to make sure that, you know, we have a lot of room and access for EMS and fire, because that is the jumping point for OCSO, FWC, OCFD to get and respond to any emergencies that are out there.
Right. And I don't know if, you know, those that are voicing opinions, if we get there, you know, what would you like to see happen to the park? You know, I think Jim just wants to deal with Bird Island, you know, and that will help him. I think Tom wants to move the gate up, you know, so I know everyone has a little different thought. Maybe that will kind of help us look at, okay, what can we do that's reasonable to try to see if we can cut down on traffic coming down here. I mean, this is deep in our community.
So what I'll do is
Yeah.
What's that?
I would say there's a lot of smart people that live in this town. I think that when we have the charrette, we should encourage people to bring their ideas that, you know, that might come up with something we haven't thought of.
Right.
You know, and have them
Exactly.
be able
Most of the time people come up and speak, it's about problems, not solutions.
Right. Or bring a solution and let's see if we can blend those solutions together. You know,
Yes,
and maybe that's how you
100%.
put it. We're looking for solutions to help with the traffic and the hopping off of Bird Island. Do you have any suggestions? And we can start soliciting them even from our neighbors that don't live right here, you know, up on Second, up on Forest, the ones that I know. I know which of my neighbors that I know use the dock all the time and see how they feel about it.
I think it's really important for us to reach out to the rest of the town, because the people that live at Fernwood don't need us. And most of them don't want us to fix up the park. They don't need the boardwalk because they live on the lake.
Right.
So, you know, it's really the people who live in Windermere who do not live on the lake that, you know, want to be able to go and sit and look at the, you know, the fireworks or the boat parade or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones that need that park.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. How do we do that, Robert? Do we just do we ask people their thoughts and ideas? How do you get those opinions in a good way?
What I would do is, again, I would create the charrette, we would advertise it, and then we would have people post their questions, solutions, issues prior to the meeting, just like we do with every other meeting. And then I would create a, you know, PowerPoint where, hey, you know, what we've seen as consistent issues, and this is what we've seen as far as consistent solutions. Let's discuss each and every one. the pros and cons of each one. And there might be one that might be, everybody's like, you know what? Because you have the little raise hand thing, emoji on your Zoom thing. I can ask everybody that's on there, hey, raise your hand if you're in favor of this one, or, put a thumbs down if you're not in favor of this one. So there's a lot of things that we can do through Zoom that can maybe help out and hopefully narrow the discussion to, okay, it's just a gate or parking or something else. And I think that would help. And also, again, a lot of people just want to get it off their chest sometimes.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I think that would be great. And I know, I certainly know you have much bigger things to deal with. And I know this isn't a crisis. This is just a really big annoyance that's been annoying for a very long time. And if we can, before we enhance the park, which it's the ugliest park we have by all means, before we put money into it in any way, even if it's just gravel and little fencing, it would be nice to get this through this piece to see how we can best enhance that park.
Okay. Yeah, I'll set up for like mid-September.
Okay. Sounds
Thank
good.
you, Robert.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Happy birthday, Alicia. Have fun.
Thanks. Are we good? Can I go, Nora? You need to vote? Is there any votes?
There's no votes.
Nope, no
No
votes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Once
All
you
right.
leave, we're going to vote.
You gonna vote me out? Oh,
No, we're going to vote for like a boardwalk, a rock climbing thing, a swing, a tiki bar.
I'm all for that if you bring the gate up. All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, Alicia. Happy
Bye.
birthday. Okay, so just the park among the lakes, the new landscaping looks great, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Looks great.
Nice, really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, once it grows up, we'll be cut it off, and I think it was a win-win on that one. So you're very welcome. It was good teamwork.
Yep, looks much better. I have noticed on Lake Down, the shrubbery is really growing up between the street and the lake on the right side of the dock. The sort of the unused side of the dock. Can we get that like cut down so it's cleaned out?
On the 7th Avenue part or the 4th Avenue part?
The on Lake Street.
Right. Okay. Lake Street.
Yeah. If you
We have two docks, 4th and Lake there. So.
Right. It's the Lake Street dock. On the side where we planted the new cypress trees, which are doing really well. But public or whoever's supposed to be mowing that is not mowing that down. So it's growing up really, really big.
Yeah, I'll get with them and see what we can do. I know when we planted the trees, we kind of cut off some access, but but anyhow, okay, yeah, we'll take care of it.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Frank had an idea about kayak storage at the parks, which I know we've talked about before, but Frank, want to expand on that?
Yeah, actually it was George Polker's idea, and he's seen it elsewhere. He sent me a picture. It's just basically a shelf, a wooden system of shelves. His idea is we build this thing, we allow people to put their kayaks on there with a lock. We charge them something, kind of like the Fernwood fee, maybe $30 a year to store a kayak. He suggested by the Rotary Park thing. What street is that? 3rd, 2nd?
What's Rotary Park?
Oh, down by you're talking
Palmer.
by Palmer Park.
Yeah.
Or
There's a little
Rotary sector.
there's a boardwalk. There used to be a big cypress tree.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, there is space there where it could be put. So anyway, I can send you what I did. I sent you George's.
But how would we? Everybody who lives in town who doesn't live on the lake would love to be able to have a place to put their kayak, so they don't have to haul it out of their house to the lake all the time. How would we determine who gets that?
I don't know. I asked George how he's done that kind of thing before. So
Okay.
I asked him to tell us the details.
Yeah, I mean, if you had limited, you could always do some type of lottery system. And if they leave it past their time, make them agree that, you know, their kayak can be removed somehow.
Yeah.
Because you're probably only talking about 6 or 8 slots, maybe. Because those kayak things take up a lot of room.
Yeah. So let me gather some more
Okay.
information from George, and maybe I'll get some info on how it actually worked out wherever he was involved with it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's flip back up to Halloween then.
Hey, can I finish? I don't see it on I can't see the whole agenda, but I finally ordered the plaque for the Bill Criswell bench.
Oh, good.
It's been shipped, so it should show up. So Scott, what I'd like to do, I think you and I discussed this. We take the plaque off the old bench across from Criswell's house that he put for his wife,
Mhm.
and put them both on the new bench.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when I get it, I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I'll watch you put it on there.
Okay. All right, so back to Halloween. You know, we're not going to be able to do the Halloween event we normally do. I was thinking that maybe we just have a really cool Halloween parade. And I was thinking maybe we could close Main Street off between 5th and 6th for, you know, a half an hour that Saturday morning. So the kids could parade right down Main Street, which would be kind of cool. And it gives them a lot more space to spread out. You know, we could advertise it. Maybe some people could come and clap for them. We could do the goodie bags and set them up on the back porch on long tables. And as the kids finish the parade, they could, you know, walk around back and pick up their goodie bags.
What about the car parade that they did for graduation?
But you can't see their costumes. I mean, the whole point is the little kids wear their costumes.
Well, that's true. But you could have tables set up on the driveway in front of town hall, and they could pull up and get their goodie bags.
Yeah, they call it trunk or treat.
Huh?
No.
Some people do trunk or treat where they just park their car and they have, you know, their kids out there, but that's whatever you guys decide relative to Halloween.
I'm just thinking of them grouping together.
Nora, one thing I haven't done, I haven't talked to downtown business as far as, you know, if they still plan to try to social distance trick-or-treating with the businesses.
Right, yes. I mean, we should do that. I was thinking, I mean, we could have the kids lined up down, you know, all the way down 5th past the Dixie Cream so that everybody's spread out properly. And then like go around the 5th Street circle, down Main Street, around the 6th Street circle, and then back behind Town Hall. And I was thinking we could, you know, the announcer we had for Pet Fest?
Yeah.
You remember him? Maybe we could hire him. He could like come, I mean, it would only be an hour, but he could come and like be the announcer, play music, you know, comment on costumes as the kids walk by.
Are we allowed to do this, Robert? I mean, I don't know are we allowed to have events like this? I mean, I'm all for it, but I just want to know if we're even allowed to do it before we put too much brain space into it.
Right.
It all depends on what phase we're in. I mean, right now, I think the max you can have together in a general vicinity is either 25 or 50. And then you have to have proper social distancing. So we, as you know, the town have canceled food trucks, pretty much all the events throughout the rest of 2020.
Well, I mean, we could, yeah, I feel badly, these poor little kids. I mean,
I know, I do too, but I just want to.
but yeah, I mean, if we, if it's not going to be possible, then we'll just scratch it off the list and move on to next year.
Yeah, if you can only have 25 people, that's probably not going to work.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, that's
People
what
are
I'm saying.
dying to get out. I'm sure it'd be a huge crowd because people are dying to get out, and outside's supposed to be healthier than
Right.
inside. But
Yeah, that's,
we don't
that's one of the, sorry, Tracy.
create drama. That's all right.
That's one of the reasons we're not doing the food trucks is because that'd be the only show in town. And if we thought that, we are typically having between 1,500 and 2,000 people, just imagine if we're the only show in town and we're probably going to have 3,000 plus at a food truck event. And then we would be all over the national news.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you guys think? Should we just bag Halloween this year?
I
Well,
think
do you
so.
think we could, either that or make the final call next month, because that still gives us a month before. I don't know. I mean, I'm a very positive person. I hope that this goes away, but it doesn't look like it is anytime soon. And, we could come up with a million creative ideas, but, if it's not possible, then I just think we shelf it. As much as I hate it, I love that Halloween event, but
I know. All right. Well, let's table it till next month, and then we can.
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a
Nora,
miracle.
in the meantime, I'll call whoever the chairperson of the DBC and have a chat with him.
Okay.
If they had any discussions internally about it.
Who's on the DVC?
There is no DVC at this point.
They're not. Okay.
You'd have to go around to each business, or I think Councilmember Andrew has the contact information, which or business directory. So you can send a mass email out to all of them to see who would be willing to participate, and then go from there.
Robert, this is Councilperson Andrew. I'm on the phone. I'm not on video because I'm in a parking lot and it's kind of a bizarre situation. But I'm happy to. I do have the email addresses for all of the businesses in town, and actually that extends beyond those that have a retail presence. But I could certainly go through, and I'd be happy to help with any of that. If any of you want to reach out to me direct, I'm l.andert@town.windermere.fl.us, which you can also find on our town website. That email address. Again, I'll say it again. It's LANDERT@town.windermere.fl.us.
Yeah, and one thing though, I say we can table it till next month, but if we didn't do the parade or any of the close to close face-to-face things, maybe we could still, social distance and pass out goodie bags. The kids could show up in their costumes spread out, and we just hand them a goodie bag like they get every year.
Yeah.
That's just one idea.
Yeah.
So my concern is if this turned out to be the only game in town,
Right. We don't want 1,000 kids showing up.
we could be overwhelmed.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And there's no way to predict.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Well, let's table it. We'll see what it looks like next month. We can make a decision.
Yeah, because we don't need much time to pull it together if it's a go. So
right.
I think if we table it till next month, that gives us another month out to see where things stand. But I think it's a good idea.
Well, it'd be nice to be able to do something. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the tennis, which is causing everybody a lot of agita this month. So
I'll be I'll be redoing the applications prior to October 1st with all of the rules and suggestions by council and PNR, because again, they, once they get the new key, then they're able to sign the new waiver form. So they're going to have to sign it after October 1st. So that's when we're going to begin that program.
Right. So I think Doug and Tracy and Sherry have been looking into some tennis apps, which are an app we can buy and that people can use the app to go in and reserve courts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we can make the app, I would think, so that it looks up. So when people try to make a reservation, it will look up and see if they'll have to put in like their name and key number, and it'll check to make sure they're tennis members. So Doug, have you guys got something?
Yeah, I'll try to, on the idea, and it's come up before, is, sort of democratizing our tennis courts so non-residents don't take over and we control some of the pro play, which gets out of hand sometimes. But we've had more complaints. At some level, the software, at least the one or two I looked at, are around $1,000 a year. They do come at a cost. We would put in rules for, as Nora mentioned, conceptually, plus any other rules. If you have a resident number, you could only use that number so many times to book courts, let's say in a 24-hour period of time. So we have looked at it. I think we're concerned that we're creating bureaucracy, Nora. We think of ourselves as a small town, and if they want to play tennis, they go out and play.
Right.
Maybe we've evolved past that, kind of like the whole discussion on use of Furman Park. It's not like, but it's a similar issue where we have a nice amenity that, a few people are trying to take advantage of it. So, we've had more different ones since the last call last month. And of course, we had an array of people last month. But so, I think we can do whatever, Nora. It just would come at a cost if we wanted to try to better control the situation.
Right. Well, I mean, we can spend the $1,000 if it's going to fix anything. And my concern is that unless we have a display available at the courts that shows which courts are reserved, that it's, we may end up having more fights because somebody's going to show up and say, hey, I reserved this court, and the guy's already on it. Oh yeah, drop dead, I've been here.
So, I mean, you have a good point. I agree with you that, maybe that's a separate issue, Nora, that we would have to research. We would have to have internet capability.
Right.
We would have to have a monitor. I do agree with you that if somebody bumps somebody and if they're non-resident, not happy about it, they're going to have to pull their phone out and show them, monitors, up. It's just going to add a level of complexity and cost on top of the $1,000 to do that.
Right. Scott, is there any way we can put a monitor up at the tennis? I mean, we have power there, but
we don't have internet or anything in that area there. So that's
an obvious vandalism target.
Yeah.
Well, and I okay. Let me know when I can talk. I'll say.
Go ahead, Trace.
Go ahead.
I just think that it's just, I feel like, okay, school just started, even though it's virtual. I drove by the court yesterday. They were all three at Main Street at 8 a.m. were empty. When I drove by at 10 o'clock, I came the other way home from playing tennis from a different place, and Butler Bay Windermere Rec Center only had one court. It looked like possibly Yari. It looked like, there's like 4 or 5 girls on the court, but the other 2 courts were open. I'm wondering if with school starting back, if some of the camps are over, if maybe some of it will resolve itself. The other thing is I feel that, you know, I'm a pretty, you know, I don't have a problem going out and talking to somebody and saying, hey, you know, I have this court reserved, but there are a lot of people that don't feel comfortable with that. So even if you have a reservation, even if it's online, there's going to be some people that don't want to confront other people and then try to get into a piss match with them over, you know, who's got the court, who doesn't. So I'm hoping that maybe with school starting up and as we get through the COVID, eventually maybe this will resolve itself, because it seems like it all spiked up during this hectic time. But I think the online reservation is a great idea, but I just don't know if it's really going to solve the problem. What do you think, Doug?
It has been pretty quiet over the last month. I haven't. Has anybody been getting any feedback like we did the prior?
Yeah, we've been getting complaints.
We did get one from Nate, who you know, he's a longtime user of the courts. I'm going to go over there tomorrow, Scott, on Friday and personally observe. He said he was deprived of play last Friday, and kind of see if I know who's over there playing on the courts. But the last few days I've observed, I don't think some of our, like you know, our previous abuser Brandon's wasn't over there or hadn't been using it the last few days. So I think he's gone back over to the courts he was using with the prep kids.
Well, that and the kids are tied to their computers till from, you know, 7 till 3. So kids are not available to play, really.
Sure.
I mean, at least none that I know. This is a whole new world.
Right, and I'll have to concur with Tracy. Mike travels back and forth during the day by the parks. You know, it seems like sometimes Main Street gets pretty full, but everybody's playing. I don't know if there's an instructor there or not, but Windermere Rec usually has a spot or two. And Main Street, I'd say most of the time, I think there's a peak time around 9 or 10 that people seem to go. Maybe it's because it's a little cooler then. But I know after those time frames, like in the afternoon, there's hardly, if anybody there.
Right.
So, I mean, everybody wants to play when it's cooler because it's really hot, but it just seems to be not as full as it was before.
All right. Well, Doug, you and Tracy are the tenant people. So what do you want to do? You want to wait?
I'm on the fence like Tracy. I mean, if we want to monitor, I'll try to make this other guy happy. Just trying to, you know, service to him, see him tomorrow, you know, that we care about it. And we allow for very limited play, that we take the courts from a Parks and Rec standpoint. You know, in his mind, somehow we're booking court times all the time with a pro, you know, and I've tried to clear that up.
Well, and didn't you say at this point, we don't have any contracts with any tennis leagues? Is that correct?
They have, Dean O'Malley's team has not renewed. We do have a request that would be an item of business from 5 to 7 p.m. starting next week for our kids clinics to start back up at Windermere Rec Center, but that's it right now, Tracy.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe it'll fizzle out with school starting. I don't know. And if we don't have any leagues signed up to reserve those courts, because I know when the leagues reserve the courts in the past, you know, they do take up, and I was one of them in the past, where we had clinics through Marcello from 9 to 11. And that was only 2 courts, because we always had to leave a court. But if nobody's under contract right now and doesn't have that reservation, they've moved on somewhere else, that might help too. Yeah,
in the mornings, that's clearly true, I think, Tracy.
Yeah.
All right. So,
well, so maybe just kind of same thing, just kind of monitor it, see school's back now, kind of sit on it and see how the courts look. There's not a bunch of kids out there with pros. school started Monday. So I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, I think the app to make reservations could be a good thing, but like I said, without some kind of a monitor or a visual on the court to see who's made reservations, it could be a problem. So, you know, if we don't need to do it, then
We've got a lot more things to spend $1,000 on.
right. I agree. Yeah.
So maybe, Nora, if we monitor and Tracy knows more tennis players than I do in town, just to see how, you know, what the feedback is, maybe.
Okay, we'll just circle back on it next month.
Nora, are we okay from item of business on the kit officially to approve that using the courts through the end of the year, 5 to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday over at Windermere Rec Center?
It's fine with me. I don't think we need a motion for that because,
Okay.
I mean, because they, you know, it's something we've historically done. Tracy, are you?
So I'm sorry, Monday through Thursday, 5 to 7?
Yeah.
They don't do it. They do it Monday through Thursday? I thought they only did it a couple days a week.
That's what he asked for. Some of the times will be just to 6:30. So a lot of times he said just to 6:30, but.
Well,
and they'll just take two courts. They'll just take 2 courts, correct?
2 courts. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. I think it's 2 different groups, isn't it? Like little kids and bigger kids or something.
They normally have beginner and intermediate. Yeah.
Right. So it's not 4 consecutive nights for one kid, Tracy. It's like 2 and 2.
Okay. But there'll be 2 courts Monday through Thursday from 5 to approximately 7?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. The only other thing, Nora, just real quick, through the summer camps, we did have, I think Marcella's dropping the check off for $858. So it's a
Great.
fair amount of money that we raised for 4 weeks of the summer camp for the town.
That's nice. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
All right. Anything else?
That's it, I think, that I have.
All right. Scott, do you have anything for us?
I'm good. Everything's going really well. So just holler at me if you see something.
All right. All righty. Anybody else? Are we done?
Do we have to approve minutes or anything?
We don't have any minutes. Doug, I saw your email and
Michael, where are you guys drinking at? We're at
So-
Polo right now. Ah, nice. Yeah.
All right, I'm just going through.
I think he's getting feedback from the other, but I know we were waiting for minutes.
well, I think Doug thought because the meeting was recorded, we didn't have to write minutes. But
Am I mistaken? I thought you mentioned that during the call. Did I misunderstand?
Oh, that's right. He did say that because it was being recorded, we didn't have to write it. There he is.
Yeah, you should still just write the gist and that's it. Because we posted it online, but it's different than typed minutes. So you just watch the video and just jot down little things.
Okay.
So it still should be posted from last month.
okay. All right. So can you do that, Doug? And
Sure.
you can do 2 months worth of minutes. We'll approve them next month.
Okay.
Frank left. Tell him he has to do this month.
I was going to admit Frank is growing his hair out.
I
Back in the
noticed
busy
that too. I wasn't going to say anything, but okay. Sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Thanks.
y'all. See you. Have a good night.
See you later. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.